What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our SEC football channel. Our 2019 college football schedule previews continue with the Mississippi State Bulldogs. This is a team that had a pretty solid year last year. I know they didn't go out the way they wanted to go out, losing that bowl game to Iowa, but still an 8-win season in the SEC West is not bad. I thought that this was the best defense in the SEC last season. I'm sure some of you are going to debate that, but I thought from all the games that I saw, this was the most impressive defense to me, and they really got hit hard. They lost a lot of those guys on that defense, especially in the front seven and on the defensive line, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a transition year this year. Joe Moorhead's second season, he had Nick Fitzgerald last year, who struggled at times, but was still a great leader for them and still a very solid quarterback. Now Keaton Thompson comes in at quarterback. We'll see what he can do. But again, with the losses on defense, I'm not expecting Mississippi State to be a top 15 team this season. They might be a top 25 team. I think that'll be debatable. But let's look at the schedule. After all, that's what this video is about. They open up with Louisiana in the Superdome in New Orleans. So that's an interesting matchup there on a neutral field. Then Southern Miss, and then Kansas State. They had their way with Kansas State last year. This year they play them at home. We'll see what happens. Kentucky after that. They always play them out of the East. And then it's a road game against Auburn, but then they get a bye week before playing Tennessee on the road. So that's not back-to-back road weeks. It's back-to-back road games, but they're not back-to-back weeks. Then they play LSU. Then they play on the road at Texas A&M, on the road at Arkansas. That will be a tough test with those games back-to-back. Then Alabama is on the schedule, Abilene Christian, an FCS opponent, and Ole Miss after that. So the schedule's not too bad. Again, you look at the games out of the East, they play Kentucky and Tennessee. They avoid Florida and Georgia. You look at the schedule, we look for the easy wins, the games that they should win. Not guaranteed wins, but I mean, it would be very surprising if they lost. Louisiana, not a bad FCS team. Southern Miss is not a bad FCS team either, but you would think Mississippi State should be able to handle both of them. And then Abilene Christian, obviously that is a win. FCS opponent, they shouldn't roll there in that one. So now you look at the rest of the schedule, and they're not going to be big favorites in any of these other games. Ole Miss is a rivalry game. They're going to play Arkansas on the road. Kansas State is at home, but that's not going to be a bad team. So again, you look at this schedule, Kentucky might be their most likely win. I know Kentucky was really good last year, but Kentucky and Mississippi State are very similar to me in what they lose on defense. Both teams lose a ton on defense. Both teams lose their best player on offense. Mississippi State loses Nick Fitzgerald. Kentucky loses Benny Snell. So that'll be a fun matchup right there. But again, all of these games are very interesting. And they're not games that Mississippi State's going to be big favorites in. In fact, they're going to be pretty big underdogs against probably LSU and Alabama. They do get them both at home. Texas A&M and Auburn on the road both. So that's 4 really tough games. Then you throw in Tennessee on the road, Arkansas on the road. I see this team losing at least 4 games in 2019. Again, last year they went 8-4. So to expect them to do better than that, I think that's not going to happen. I think 6 or 7 wins is more likely. I do think this team can at least get to a bowl game. Again, you look at those 3 games that we've already greened. I think they're going to be favored against Kansas State. Kentucky's definitely a winnable game. Arkansas a winnable game. Ole Miss a winnable game. So you've got 4 of those. You win 3 of the 4. You get to 6 wins. Or perhaps you lose one of those and win a big game against Tennessee or Texas A&M, something like that. I guess it's possible they could slip to 5 wins. But we'll give them 6. I think they at least get to 6 wins. But again, I think it's more likely that they go 6-6 than it is that they go 8-4. I'd actually be pretty surprised if they get through this schedule at 8-4. Again, Auburn, I really don't know that they're going to win that game on the road. Texas A&M on the road, Alabama and LSU. Those 4 games are going to be tough. And then getting through the rest of the schedule without losing a game is going to be tough. So 7-5 might be the most likely scenario. I think, again, best case scenario is 8-4. Worst case, 6-6. Possibly you could drop that to 5-7. But I have a lot of faith in this team at least winning some of those games and getting to 6-6. So that is what I have for Mississippi State. That's about how I think their season's going to go. Again, these wins are only based off of the 12 regular season games. That does not include bowl games or potentially an SEC championship game, which I don't see Mississippi State getting there. So yeah, 6 to 8 wins, something like that is what I'm thinking for the Bulldogs. Long term, this program is in pretty good shape. You know, I expect them to be a winning program, a team that wins 7, 8, maybe 9 games a year moving forward. I just, with all the losses on defense, I think this is kind of going to be a little bit of a down year for them. But again, if they finish with 7 or 8 wins with the schedule and with all that they lost, that's a great season for Mississippi State. I think that should be their goal, is to get to 7-5 or maybe 8-4. Again, with some pretty tough matchups there in the SEC, and then Kansas State on the schedule as well. What do you guys think about Mississippi State? What do you think about this schedule? Leave a comment down below with your thoughts. And to get the latest on all of our schedule previews, go to sg1sports.com. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.